Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News.
There is a rising tide of entrepreneurship sweeping across Africa, and the youth are riding it vigorously. A growing number of young Africans are not just content waiting around to climb up the career ladder, but setting it out to write their own destinies by creating their own businesses. Joining us this morning is Dr. Awele Elumelu, a trustee of the Tony Elumelu Foundation, who will be discussing the upcoming Tony Elumelu Foundation Forum and what the work the foundation is doing to raise more African entrepreneurs. Good morning, ma'am. Welcome to the morning show.
Good morning. Welcome to the morning show.
Good morning. Thank you.
Now, this whole idea of the entrepreneurship program by the Tony Elumelu Foundation is based on an ideology, what Tony Elumelu calls Capitalism.
Yeah.
Now, can you tell us what that ideology is all about before we go into the details and what you've been able to do in the last 4 years?
What Capitalism is basically, it's a philosophy that guides us in our group. Our group is the Heirs Holdings Group, of which the Tony Elumelu Foundation is part of. So this is the philosophy that believes that the private sector needs to invest. The private sector is responsible and has a responsibility in the development of any economy. And what it is that we believe that the private sector needs to invest long-term in specific sectors in the economy for growth of the economy. So this is basically what this is. We're calling on all private sector. We know that the government has a role, no doubt, but then we believe that the private sector has the know-all, has the capacity, has even the wherewithal, the expertise to be able to drive the economy in any given part of the world. So that's basically what Capitalism is.
Sometimes I'm confused.
Okay.
Sometimes your foundation talks about Capitalism Institute and also talks about the Tony Elumelu Foundation. What's the relationship between the Capitalism Institute and the Tony Elumelu Foundation? Or was it that the institute was an original idea and then you decided to focus on the foundation? So
we have the foundation. The foundation, basically what it's founded on is developing entrepreneurship, because we believe that entrepreneurs are the ones who have the potential to unlock, any economical transformation in any country. So this was what the foundation was built on, entrepreneurship. And in the course of this, we realized that we need to educate people, make them understand the importance of the private sector. So we did the work of Capitalism along other things we were doing in the foundation. But when we realized the importance of spreading this news, making the private sector realize the importance, we decided to carve this niche, carve this Capitalism Institute to focus primarily on this, to get the word out there, to get the message out there to the private sectors that their role is paramount in the development of the economy.
And so what has been the impact on the entrepreneurship environment in Africa?
It's been amazing. So we started this program in 2015. So we've run, this is the 4th year it's running. So we've been able to carry out a survey looking at our entrepreneurs from the first 3 years. So this would be about 3,000 entrepreneurs. So we reached out to them, carried out a survey. We're able to interview just under half of this 3,000 number, about 1,500 thereabouts. And what we've seen is we looked at the revenues they've been able to generate, looked at the number of jobs they've been able to create, and we compared before they joined the program and after they joined the program. Before they joined the program, they were looking at total revenues of about maybe $18 million. But looking at them, comparing it to after they joined the program, revenues have increased to about $52 million. And along the same vein, even job creation, we looked at the jobs they were able to create before they joined the program. We were looking at about 4,000 jobs. But since joining the program, they've been able to create a total of about 12,000 jobs. So we would say that there's been impact. And, I think I should mention at this point that it's completely sector agnostic.
Okay.
So these are entrepreneurs from any sector. We have up to more than 30 sectors involved in our entrepreneurship program. And I also want to say that it's across Africa. So I know some people may realize, but we need to reemphasize this, the fact that it's all African countries that are involved, and it's any sector, just so long as you come up with a plan that we believe will transform the continent, then you could be selected as one of the entrepreneurs.
I attended one of your programs, and at that program, we were told that the Tony Elumelu Foundation is already in about 44 countries,
Oh, no, I think I need to correct that. Maybe that's old information. We're actually in 54 African countries.
Oh, it's 54 now?
Yes, we are.
Well, this program was much earlier.
Much earlier, exactly.
So that must be that.
So this is up-to-date information.
It must be that you managed to spread out further since that last event. But at that event, we were told 44 countries.
Okay.
And, Tony Elumelu was there, Pamenda V,
the CEO,
who is the CEO, was also there. And it was a well-attended program. But in terms of the success stories, what has been the main success stories, if I may say so?
Yes.
You touched on it earlier on, but what are the main success stories that you've been able to record?
There's so many, so we can't really say main. There's a lot of them, as I said, I've given the numbers, figures, but then we're so impressed, we're so touched by what the entrepreneurs have been able to do. A lot of them are reaching into communities that were hitherto had no one to help them. If we look, for example, there's one in particular that touches us, or touches me anyway. There's a gentleman called Joel in Uganda. So he's into the agri-business. They were having problems there with the arid land. So he went into finding innovative ways to irrigate the land. So with his funding, he's been able to do this, educate people on how to fund the land. I know there's something very interesting.
How much was his funding?
The funding, I haven't actually gone into this. So the funding that the foundation, the Tony Elumelu Foundation provides is, I'll give you the history. So what it is, it's a 10-year commitment. As I said, we started in 2015. So the 10-year commitment in which we've committed $100 million to identify, to train, to mentor.
And this is about $100 million for
100 million for 10 years.
For 10 years, okay.
10,000 entrepreneurs. So we pick and select growing process with the help of Accenture, 1,000 entrepreneurs every year. So that's what we do. And so that's basically what it is. So his funding would have been $5,000. Okay. Which is what they all get to start off with. So that's $5,000, not a loan. They get it. All they need to do is they go through the 12-week. So when they're selected, they go through a 12-week training program. They're under mentorship. They're trained on how to set up a proper business plan, the proper structures for a business, and then they receive their funding.
So
tell us more about this guy from Uganda and a few other examples.
And a few others. So this guy, he's, what makes his own so interesting is he's developed this technology whereby he has a small piece of land, a space of about 1 acre, and in that small piece of land, he's able to develop up to 30,000 tons of onions. So, and he's trained hundreds, 300, 400 other people along these lines. And so he's really promoting and developing the agribusiness in his country. So if I were to come a bit closer to home, we have someone called Nkem Okocha. Her business is called Mama Money. So what she does is she's been able to reach...
she was at the event that
was she? Yes. She's been able to reach the women at the grassroots level, at the base of the pyramid. So she gets to these poor women, she's able to train them in vocational skills. She provides access to loans for them. So far, she's been able to do this for at least train about 4,000 women. About 90% of them have been able to start up their businesses, and there's a 99% repayment of these loans. So she's structured it in such a way that they're able to access this loan, she's able to attract investors, and she has the whole thing running perfectly. So those are just some examples of some of the entrepreneurs
You talked about funding earlier on.
Yes.
I mean, Tony Elumelu defines Afro-capitalism as a bridge between capitalism and philanthropy. Okay? I'm just trying to simplify it. Now, how much funding comes from Heirs Holdings and your partners? Recently, Red Cross bought into the vision. So how much funding do you get from outside in terms of support?
So in total, we have about 4,400 plus entrepreneurs who have benefited from the program. 4,000 have been directly from the foundation, and then the other 470 have been through our partners. You mentioned the Red Cross. They came on board a couple of years ago, and they committed $100 million to train 200 entrepreneurs, to train and fund 200 entrepreneurs. In the same vein, we had the UNDP as well. They come on board, they committed $200,000. Wow. We have another development agency in Germany. They did 1,000 euros. So with this, we're able to help a further 210 or so entrepreneurs. So we have those, and we also have other partners who not necessarily donate funds. We have like the Microsoft, we have Sage. So they are providing different forms of business support. So they help, so in addition to the fund that the entrepreneurs receive, they get different forms of support depending on what kind of partners we have come on board to offer all these other types of support.
Well, you have a new set of graduates who have gone through training for 12 weeks.
Yes, we do.
Right, and you have a program,
yes,
a summit for this year.
Yes.
And you've invited President Uhuru Kenyatta.
We have.
President Nana Akufo-Addo.
Yes, we have.
I looked at that list. I don't see you inviting anybody from Nigeria. So is that deliberate? And why Kenyatta and why Nana Akufo-Addo?
You know, the foundation is, so it's based in Nigeria, but it's Africa focused. In the past, we've had Nigerian presidents. We've had President Obasanjo come. We have our current vice president. He was there last year. So we've actually had Nigerians. We also had the Liberian president a couple of years ago as well. So because it's not, Nigeria is not the focus, we feel we need to invite other presidents. We need to be inclusive. We need to let our other entrepreneurs from across the continent know that it's not just Nigerians we're talking about, but all the other countries. And of course, we want to attract perspectives from other African countries. And hence, we looked at Kenya, we looked at Ghana.
Okay. Yeah, but why Kenyatta? Why Ghana? Why Akufo-Addo from Ghana? You must have looked at certain things, how they connect, you know, as symbols to your own values.
Or was there a specific reason for the pick?
Well, as we all know, we have this, so we've always had this close relationship with Ghana. Both, so not just on the what do I call it? On the lighter mode. Right? So not on the lighter. We all know the lighter relationship with Ghana. But even when the United Bank of Africa started, Ghana was one of the first branches we went to. We've always had this strong economic ties with Ghana. So there's a strong presence in Ghana. And we know that we share a lot of economic practices and beliefs. So Ghana was a natural focus for us to go to. But then so that we don't restrict ourselves to just West Africa, we needed to look at the East African coast as well. And then Kenya was just a natural choice.
Oh, it's just a natural choice.
Yes.
Okay, talk to us about this year's forum. What makes it so unique from the rest that you guys have had?
This year, so we're coming out with something special this year. We have a product called the TEF Connect.
What is that?
Which is, we're launching this. What this is it's a digital platform. And basically, it's a platform for all entrepreneurs. So not just our entrepreneurs. It'll be open to all entrepreneurs and all players in the entrepreneurial ecosystem. There'll be access for them, there'll be provision for them to network amongst each other. There'll be access to funding. There'll be mentors on the platform. There'll be ability to be able to form partnerships. So it's just like a global marketplace for entrepreneurs to be able to come together to develop themselves, develop each other, and develop the general ecosystem. And of course, the economy, at the end of the day, what we're looking at is the African economy. So we're believing that if we're able to do this and provide the entrepreneurs with all this information. Before now, what happened was we would have the 1,000 entrepreneurs that we would select. They would have access to this information, the training, the mentoring. But then we realized that it wasn't really achieving what we set out to do. We were focusing on 1,000 a year, making it 3,000 as at the end of the last program. But we decided that one way to reach more entrepreneurs, to democratize this lock, as we like to say in the foundation, was to open up this to all the entrepreneurs. So that was the decision we took at the foundation, create this platform so that even though you don't receive the funding, you'll be able to receive the training, which all the entrepreneurs that have gone to the program have said has been a very important and beneficial part of the whole program to them.
What is the criteria for selection? Because I could come up and tell you, hey, I have this farm that I want to plant onions in. I mean, and someone else comes to tell you that as well. So what's your criteria for selection?
So first of all we need, for you to apply, you need to be more than 18 years old, which I'm not sure you are, but I would think.
No, actually, she looks younger than
I know.
I'm 16, Dr. Abati. Just kidding. Okay.
So you need to be more than 18, and then you apply. It's a whole process. It's rigorous, I won't tell a lie. But then we shortlisted the support or the help of Accenture. So they have that responsibility. They go through thousands. So in the first year, we had just 20,000 applications, and it has grown each year. The following year was about 40-something thousand, then 90-something. This year, we had 151,000 applications. So they have that responsibility to go through and screen and shortlist. We wanted to ensure that there was transparency. We didn't want to be the ones
Oh, I see.
going through and selecting. So they have that responsibility. They go through the shortlist, they come and they present to us, and we see what...
Your event with President Macron of France, I mean, that was a big hit.
It was.
I mean, I thought it was the biggest moment of the Tony Elumelu Foundation. Are we looking forward to something like that this time around? Or?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, we believe it will be, because we're planning for it to be, which is why, again, in addition, so he was the president from the West, but then we've brought it closer to home. Again, we're hoping to create the same, I guess, the same buzz, give the same opportunity to the entrepreneurs to interact with the leaders.
Yeah,
so
that was a great event.
So it should be, there should be a repeat of it with the presidents. It's Tony Elumelu, who's going to, again, anchor this. So there's going to be that whole dialogue again, himself and the president.
Well, before we let you go, I want to ask you a personal question.
Oh, God,
Okay.
And I don't want you to take offense.
You don't want me to dodge the answer as well?
That's a good one.
Yeah. You know, I mean, I like your passion, your commitment to the Tony Elumelu Foundation.
Yes.
But why is it not named Tony and
Awele
Elumelu Foundation? Like Bill and Melinda Gates. Are you at some point going to ask your husband and say, look, I'm so involved in this, we have to change the title of this thing?
No, I personally, I think that's fine. Because, I mean, we are all it's the Tony Elumelu family. So it's me, it's him, it's the children. I don't have to have my name there.
Maybe he'll take a cue. He'll take a cue from me. I'm sure.
Maybe he'll take what?
I'm sure he will. He's watching.
He'll take it up with, maybe he'll take a cue from this.
Yeah.
And maybe, who knows, maybe in 2 years' time you'll see Tony and Awele.
As a very loyal, obedient African wife, you don't want on television. Put
But
my
I'm
name
here.
there.
Oh, yeah, so maybe when I leave here, I'll go on. Why?
Thank you very much, Mrs. Awele Elumelu, for coming to the morning show.
Thank you very much.
It was such a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right. It's time now for a short break. When we come back, co-founder and executive chairman of All Africa Global Media, Amado Mata, will be joining us in the studios. Do stay with us.